Hello, everybody. This is Lady Mala here at Studio 236, and I'm here with the one, the only, the great, feel good man, Simone Malone. And we are here to discuss something really fantastic about 14 years that FMHDMS Radio has been in operation. But I got to tell you, before I get started with this gem here, I got to tell you how we met, which is really if you don't know anything about LinkedIn, you've never heard about LinkedIn, but you're trying to produce your business, and LinkedIn should probably give us some money for this. We met on LinkedIn and we actually became friends. And it was really, really rather wonderful. I just retired from teaching. So I'm
trying to get to that point.
I was just curious, really, because I wasn't really thinking about a second career. I was not thinking about going into radio and television really solid. I started it as a young person, really, in junior year of high school. But I had not given those thoughts. But I saw him and I thought, ooh, that might be interesting. So I sent. Yeah,
or did you like my picture? No, I'm just kidding.
Well, it could have been some of that too, because I think I sent a friend request, and I was really just requesting a lot of people. But what came from that was a really, really wonderful, solid,
thank you,
friendship, professional and private. And I think, really honored. I know. I'm really honored to know Simone Malone. Be able to work with him is more than a pleasure. It is a true treat. And so today we spent some time talking about the 14 years that FMHDMS Radio has been in operation.
Yeah. To God be the glory.
Yes, that's big. That's really big. But before we go there, I have to say this, because I remember many people saying this statement, that when God closes one door, He opens another.
Yes.
Right? How does that relate to you, and what does that stir up in you, that phrase in itself?
Well, first of all, let me just say thank you for taking the time to drive over from New Jersey.
You're welcome. I do that.
Be here at Studio 236, and to everybody that's viewing this, thank you so much. Please share this. This is an exclusive spotlight with my dear friend, Lady Mala, who's a phenomenal radio and television personality yourself.
Thank you.
14 years ago, I was working at a commercial educational radio station in Philadelphia. And I was there for about 4 or 5 years, not really making any money. Worked there as a personality, and then program director, and then assistant to the general manager. That station was around for many years. It still exists today, 88.1, I believe, WPB. They didn't change the dial setting. And I met a gentleman there by the name of Vince Horsey. During the time that I was there. And then my time ended there in around 2003 or 4, because our station was created in December of 2005, which makes 14 years to this day.
Yes, that's incredible.
Yeah,
that's really incredible.
As an independent African-American owned and
that's
station.
One of the key things that I was going to say, which makes this so really very special, very unique, is that it is an independently owned, African-American owned station.
Yeah, we're not with any network. We only operate what we do independently. A lot of stations are connected to networks. We deal with the network for streaming, which we'll probably cover that, but we are independent with no national sponsors or advertisers.
Yeah, now see, that's where you got me, because
I'm not saying that we probably would want them. It's just that we have, we've never really gone after them to say that we wanted you to sponsor our station or to advertise on our station aggressively.
Business person like me, a business mindset, a mind like me, would immediately want to know, how did you stay afloat for 14 years without that?
I'll explain that to you.
I'll
definitely get to that. But so I met a gentleman by the name of Vince Horsey, during the time that I was at WPB. And during the time before I was about to leave, the person who was in charge of the station was thinking about giving me the radio station to totally own and operate.
Interesting.
Not the manager, but to own and operate it, because of my educational background, being a graduate of Shaw University, having a degree in mass communications, having a number of years of experience in mass media. I believe I knew how to run and own and operate that station. because my name was going to be on the license of that station.
Right.
But something happened with the communication with me and this individual that I decided to depart. And that happens in business with people. And in a way, I'm glad it did, because it closed that door.
Right.
To open the door for what I'm doing with internet radio.
Right.
So 2 years were lapsing at that time. And Mr. Vince Horsey, who is the CEO of FMHDMS Radio, because HDMS stands for Horse Data Management Services.
You know I was going to ask
A lot of people probably didn't know that. They see it, but they don't know. But HDMS stands for Horse Data Management Services.
Right.
From our CEO, his last name is Horsey.
Okay.
So it's HDMS. So 2 years after I left the station, you know, I wasn't on the radio, but I always had my productions. I got a telephone call from him.
Okay.
Because I thought that he was probably still working at WPB as the, he was kind of a computer tech person to get them streaming, because that was his expertise. And I thought that he was still there. And he was telling me about he's streaming music online of his network, which at the time was HDMS, not FMHDMS.
Right.
And I said, well, tell me more about this. And he told me more about it. And then we connected. I met with him at his office where he was working in West Philadelphia. And he told me, man, I would love to put your shows that was on that station running on my network. At that time, it wasn't a radio station. It was just a network streaming with music.
Okay.
Sounded good.
Right. Right.
And I said, oh, that sounds like a great idea, because he liked my radio shows that were on that station as well. And he said, I just want to stream your shows because it was so great, the music, your personality on the air, where I have people logging in to my network to hear you.
Right.
And I said, sure, man, no problem. What I need to do, send you the MP3s, and he did that. So what I did, Mala, Lady V, yeah. Anyhow, what I've done was tell my friends to tune into this network to hear my radio show.
Right.
That they weren't hearing me on the radio for a couple of years.
Right.
And they were doing it. I said, man, I like this. I could hear you fresh. Your shows sound great. And they were really old shows, even though I started doing some new stuff, and he was running on the network. Okay. So, saving a long story short, I talked to him, and I prayed about this and said, Vince, this is really cool that people can hear me by logging into your network by a click of a button.
Right. Yes.
I said, man, I think we're onto something here. And he said, what? I said, man, let me pray about this. I said, did you ever think about creating a radio station on your network online? He said, brilliant idea.
Right.
Prayed about it. And certainly the Lord gave me the answer and said, talk to him further about it and go for it. And he was in agreement. He understood what I was sharing at that time about streaming music on a network that he owned and operated. And we created a radio station online, which was under HDMS at the time. And then a few years later, through licensing and things like that, we created what we call FMHDMS Radio.
I know that the roles between the two of you, between you and Vince, were very different.
Correct.
Even though you worked wonderfully together and you made wonderful music together, wonderful broadcasting together, what's the difference between what you did and what he did?
He's the tech guy. He's the brilliance. Mr. Horsey, hello if you're watching. He's the brilliance behind the stream. He's Microsoft certified. Okay. Computer certified. He's a genius when it comes to computers, building them and building networks, because he has his own network of HDMS.net that's separate from the radio station. So his role and responsibility is to engineer the programmer of what we do. Right. My job as a producer and being the manager of the station is to create the station for the business side of personalities, contracts, and format stuff. All that falls on me. I'm really glad you mentioned that, because the next thing that I thought about was, of course, you on your own could probably run the system, run the station. You wouldn't need anybody else, truthfully. I need him, though. No, you do. I mean, you need him to do the technical things that involve the station. But when it comes to relaying information, producing, the ministry that you carry, you can do that. Absolutely. 110%. And you don't need you don't need anybody else to do that. But the truth is that you have other personalities that actually are a part of
your station.
Absolutely.
So what about those people that you have under your wing that are actually really wonderful assets to, your company? So what about them?
Yeah, let me go back to say this. So when we created the radio station, God gave me the number 6.
Okay.
The number 6 people that are watching is 6 format of music: gospel, jazz, R&B, talk, inspirational messages, house and club, and oldies.
Yes.
I wanted to have a station online, and I talked this over with my business partner, Mr. Horsey, where people can have a variety.
Right. Right.
Not just a one format station.
Yes.
Now, I'm not knocking other stations out there with the one format, but I wanted a variety where we could attract people from all walks of life.
Yes, and that's wise.
If they didn't like the R&B, they liked the gospel. We played not only smooth jazz, but mainstream jazz. We had R&B. We had oldies. So I wanted to have a station that had a variety of format where I could have a variety of personalities that were experts from their experience in that format of music.
Yes, and that makes sense, because now I go back to our time together in studying radio. And I was a bit of a student for a couple weeks. And, the key phrase that I remember is, of course, not just knowing your audience, but attracting your audience. And so being able to have that kind of variety attracts your audience. It keeps them. Because if I didn't like country music and you were playing country music, I would change the station.
Sure.
But if you provide other things that I enjoy, I will fall back and I will stay on your station.
Absolutely.
So that's real wisdom when it comes to being able to keep your client, right? To keep your listeners, right? And draw them in, that they don't just, come that one particular time. They keep coming.
Absolutely.
They keep coming back. And you have an attractive personality that I think people can't deny. So they're going to watch. When they see you coming on, they're going to stop whatever they're doing and they're going to watch. And that's important too as a broadcaster.
Correct.
You got to be able to keep your audience.
That's it.
If they're clicking off, your business isn't going anywhere.
Exactly.
So you've got these personalities. And they really are fantastic, because I think I've listened to all of them. And they really, really do set the stage for what it is they do.
Right.
So you're right when you say that they're experts in their area. Yeah. Right, whether it's jazz, whether I think, what was it, the lady who does
soulful jazz?
No, she does the speaking, and it's upliftment,
Mona
education.
Phillips does she's actually one of our P contractors, but she does a talk show.
Yes, and it's wonderful. It's really wonderful, So and to provide that variety is necessary.
Absolutely,
because that just pulls everyone in, and that's good. But number 6 is not the only number here. Right, we're going to talk about numbers just for a moment. You also have an attraction to the number 25.
Right. God gave me 6 and 25. 25, folks, is we were charging, and some of you probably say, Simone, you're insane. I've never heard of such. I don't like to, this is a leisure activity for people to be on your radio station. When you as a client want to be on the radio, to buy airtime or to be trained, it's a leisure activity. So it's your finances. But the Lord gave me the number 25, which it will be $25 for 30 minutes to have a broadcast. I know you're about to fall out your chair wherever you are. So it'll be $100 a month to have a 30-minute broadcast. That's actually now $200 because we provide a promo spot that goes with that. But you can have a radio show on our station for 30 minutes, one 30-minute broadcast per week for $200 a month. We have never changed that price.
Yes.
And never in 14 years.
That's unheard of. That's really there for anyone out there who would love to get their, message out into, the mainstream of people, our listeners. You can purchase that time.
That's right.
Let's say if you want a half an hour. Today, it's very feasible to spend that $25 and come in for that time. And
it equals about $100 a month for the 30-minute broadcast, because it's contractual because we're a licensed station, and you have the promo spot that goes with that, which can be their voice incorporated, telling people to tune into that show that they can use to promote what they do. So they really pay $200 a month. And it's a 3 to 6 month contract. We do the minimum of 3 months because you want to be able to be on the station for at least 3 months or more to be able to see the response to your broadcast. You can't get a response like you would want from your listeners in 1 month. People have to know that there's some consistency.
Yes.
And we've had broadcasts on here from ministries for years.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, one broadcast was almost on our station for 8 years.
Mm-hmm.
And we thank that particular ministry
Right.
because they have helped us and we have helped them to carry out that message across the country.
Yes, and it is vital. It's vital, especially when you want to begin to open up or branch out, your ministry or whatever it is that you're looking to do. Maybe you want to get into radio transmission in terms of music or whatever a medium that you would like to utilize. This is a wonderful way to do it and a really inexpensive way to do it.
Very much so.
Yeah,
there are a lot
really
of other stations that charge much more than we do.
Right, yes.
And, we're trying to help you. We're not trying to hurt your pockets. We are running a business, but we want it to be very effective for you as well as us.
I did, when we had our discussion, you said something about WBM Productions.
Right.
So now I want to introduce that to everybody else because we talked about it a little bit more. Can you share a little bit about what WBM?
Yeah, that's still my production business where I train people. Even before I started the internet station, I've had WBM Productions, which stands for Worshiping with Anthony Malone. I've had that ever since really high school.
If y'all didn't know, Simone's first name is Anthony.
Don't call me Anthony.
Even though you know him as Simone, he's Anthony first.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's how WBM Radio Production started.
Yes.
Where people were coming to my studio, which is here that I own and operate for the station. Previously, before I was in this neck of the woods, my studio was in my parents' home. And people would come there for training and, hire me to do commercials and voiceovers. And it was really a teaching ground. My studio's always been a teaching ground for many people.
All right. So WWAM was really what I was a part of. Basically.
Right, but even though you were under the radio station, you were under my productions.
Yes. And so this is the other side of it. We talked about with the number 6, the idea of actually going into your own show, but this one allows a person to become your student. So you learn from the sensei, and the sensei is going to share with you all of the information you need to know about what it takes to be a prime broadcaster today. So WWAM is a fantastic avenue, right? If you're looking to get into a broadcasting career or you love radio, I remember when radio first started, when we were rocking cassette tapes.
I'm actually having, I still have, folks, my initial permit to be on the radio. I'm going to have to share that one day. I actually have it upstairs in my bedroom in one of my briefcases.
Yes.
Because you had to have a permit years ago to be on the radio.
Right. So, that's that plug that's necessary because, I took the time. I didn't realize how much I had under my belt. But like I said, I had been doing broadcasting in high school. Yeah. I used to actually leave school and go and do a show. And people were like, why is she always leaving? That was the only thing that was keeping me in school, truthfully, or I wouldn't go. Because you had to really keep my curiosity. I was not an unintelligent student. I was an extremely intelligent student, very quick. And those were the things that kept me coming to school because I knew I needed to be in to go. And I'd go.
Yeah.
And that was for many things. And so if you are interested, WBM Productions is a great place to start. It is worth every penny.
Thank you.
And you're learning from a sensei. You're not just learning from a professional. He is upper echelon, and when you have upper echelon teaching you, you do really understand the diamonds that you are receiving in terms of broadcasting. Yeah. And he does that. He does that well.
Thank you.
Yeah, so one of the other things that's really important when we talk about FMHDMS Radio is what we don't realize, and I think what they don't realize is that FMHDMS Radio is 90% podcast.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Most of our broadcasts on the station, Lady Mala, is pre-recorded digitally through the software to air. A podcast is when it's recorded professionally through a system to air.
Right.
Because that's one of the questions I ask a lot of my students. Do you know what a podcast is? Right. Some of them don't know.
Right. Yes.
So 90% of our shows are podcasts. A lot of times I'm live. You have seen that.
Yes.
Some of my shows are podcasts as well, where people can go back and listen to it.
Right.
For a couple of days. That same show. So personalities come here to produce the shows to air each week.
Yes.
They come through these doors and produce those shows to air in that particular slot that we have. that are block slots for our personalities for the shows that we have. And then our paid programming is usually on the weekends where people can have airtime for their talk show or church ministry.
Right.
Commercials can run anytime during those slots as well.
All of this sounds really fantastic, and I think it's a lot of information that people simply really don't know.
Right.
We could take a look at shows, and I think a lot of us who utilize Facebook may not spend a lot of time on television, but we spend a lot of time on Facebook, and we're actually watching a lot of different shows that are on, but you don't realize the ins and outs of what makes that show, what you see when you watch it. And this is what's vital about being able to see something like this, a show like this, is being able to recognize, whoa, all of that goes into doing this. You know, that 30 minutes or that hour of, broadcasting time, there's a lot that goes into play about it. And it's very valuable to understand what happens in that process, especially if you might be interested in maybe one day having your own station, right? Owning your own station. And those are great possibilities, man. Not just people of color, but everyone in general are doing some really fantastic things today. And it's all with the idea that I want to be the boss. I want to be the entrepreneur. I do not want to be out there in that 9 to 5 every day, all day. But I want to have flexibility. And I think that's one of the things that's well afforded in something like this.
And let me say, and to those that are watching again, that this is full-time work for Simone, but a part-time income. You know, and I always
there's some love here.
Oh, definitely. There's been some love. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. But when you're called for this specific duty and assignment that I have been, it's passion to me.
Yes.
And it's not a difficult task to have people lined up to produce their shows.
Yes.
You know, 2 hours behind each other and produce their shows with excitement and enthusiasm because they're here to carry out a good message to the people that they serve.
Yes.
And that's really, really key.
You do a great job of that, though. You really do. I get drawn in, and then I'm like, oh my God, I've just had an hour and a half time that I need to be doing something else, but I couldn't just, pause what I was doing at that time. And a lot of times I like to come in and ghost, so you don't know I'm there, but I'm there. And that's because I'm bouncing around. I'm trying to do other things, but I am also trying to tune in, to stay abreast. And that's vital. So come on now, let's think futuristically for a moment. And I don't want to talk marriage right now, but and I'm kidding.
Who wants to marry the radio field?
I'm kidding. What's the futuristic projection of this station? Where do you see?
That's an excellent question.
Where do you see the station?
I am a visionary of radio, and we are part of the new revolutionary move of radio. I'm trusting and believing as we move into the new decade of our lives that God will send more supporters and advertisers our way, that this station can be a voice for you to carry out your message. Someone just hit me up, is interested in joining our team next year.
Good.
But my vision that I have of the station is that we will expand more to doing live remotes, making more appearances where we can come directly to you to stream you live. And to give people who want to get into this industry an opportunity to learn under me, where you can host my show or maybe host your own show on the station.
Yes.
So we want to continue to be a good voice and platform as a training station for many people to come to that feel comfortable and involved and connected here with me. I've had many people, Lady Mala, come through these doors and say thank you to help them through college, to help them with projects for other radio stations, and that's what this is about. If I can't help you for what God has called me to do, what good is my career? What good is my living?
True.
True. And that doesn't go always free, but it goes with a reasonable cost.
Yes.
To put a smile on your face for what you want, and I'm going to continue to be open-minded about as technology changes. We can't keep up with all the technology that change. We will be spending so much money and be completely broke ourselves.
True. Very true.
There's a lot of softwares out there. There's a lot of equipment out there to do what people do. And some of you I see that are broadcasting from stations are doing a great job. We have just found something that's comfortable with what we're using to keep it upgraded that's fair and reasonable to do what we do on a daily basis and stream at 128K digital, so you hear us very clearly.
Right.
From when we first started at 32K.
Yes,
that's
imagine
a big
that.
difference.
Very big difference. Very big.
Yeah.
And you can hear the difference if you go back. Well, you have to go back to the history of things.
Yes.
And history is always fantastic. I think I was sharing with someone about a day or so ago, and talking about the idea of how the last Facebook Live that I did was, how we not know our history, but think we're actually going to progress in the present and move towards the future. Those are all connected to each other. And I truly do believe, that's what allows us to keep value for what we do presently and to really look forward to what we're going to do in the future. Yeah. It's extremely important. This was pleasant, as usual.
Thank you.
As usual. We have a wonderful, wonderful connection. I always enjoy coming out and spending some time with you and getting to talk to you about things we both love.
Yeah.
Because this is really a genuine adoration for this type of medium. And I think you've done an incredible, incredible job.
Yeah. I want to say this too, that we were fully staffed when we first started with a lot of personalities. And, over the years, people have moved on. We decreased some of the personalities of what we do. But we're still operating. I used to remember when they were like 8 to 10 personalities on the air that were independent contractors compared to us having 4 or 5 now.
Yes.
But, having a decrease in your staff or people that work under you under contracts is okay. As long as, the quality of what you're doing is excellent.
That doesn't diminish.
And the bills are being met.
Yes. True.
And then to be honest with people, we're not profiting a whole lot of money. Even over our 14 years, I can testify that, this income has paid off one of my cars.
Okay.
And paying for my newer car that I got a few years ago, because it is a part-time income.
Right.
So, if it's not making dollars, it's not making sense. What good is your gift and talent that you've studied and you went to school for, your degree in it, if it does not pay off in some kind of way?
True.
And believe it or not, the FCC has not been governing much internet stations yet. People need to know that. The FCC hasn't. There's lots of stations out there making a lot of money.
Right.
And we hope that they're doing it in the right and legal way, because we do everything by contracts.
What you mean, I think, and just to make clarification for those that are watching and may not understand, is what you're saying, that as broadcasters, we still have a lot of freedom.
Right.
To do what we really would like to do.
Right. And the FCC is not asking us to pay them for us broadcasting. So I'm not saying at some point it's not going to happen, but we under our engineer and CEO, everything's documented. We have all of our shows that's ever aired on this station in a database.
Yeah.
Do you know that I can go back to when I first hit the airwaves and he can pull that show? We have a data system that we use for that. We can pull old shows to play.
Right.
I can pull a show that a bishop who was on years ago. We can pull that. That's how keen our database system is.
And I think that's how it has to be, truthfully. You really do need to have fantastic documentation for what you've done.
Absolutely.
And then have the ability to do a blast from the past.
Yes. And we do run old shows. It's not a problem with that. You can hear the
Yes.
difference in the sound because things have changed. But
Right.
We do run a lot of old shows, because I've had people come back and say, man, can you pull that? I need a copy of a show from 2009. And I'm able to contact our CEO from the database we have, and he'll send that show to me, and then I can put it on disc or something like that. So it's really a cool thing. It's a great feeling to be able to own and operate what you do, and to be in the position that I am, to teach others, as well as to just come right where I am.
Right.
And don't have to leave and travel a distance.
Yes.
To do what I do. Somebody can call me up and say, Simone, I need a commercial, or I need this, I need that real quick. And we can handle that expeditiously.
Right.
So that's the good thing.
Any last words that you want to leave with your audience to let them know about Studio 236?
Well, on the screen, you guys will see the website and the contact number there. Please feel free to reach out to me if I can be any help to you in this industry. We're here as, like I said, a voice of change. I thank God for many of you who have followed us down the path for 14 years. Many of you have seen our growth. You've seen the changes. It's a lot of work behind the scenes that I do. Many of you know I work another career as well. Certainly, it's about time management.
One or two.
Yeah, time management you have to have, and
Yes.
structure to what you do.
Right.
And, always follow your heart.
Mm-hmm.
When God gives you something, He is going to support you with
Yes.
everything that you need.
Yes.
So that you can be a success at it.
Right.
Even though, people like to make a whole lot of money from this industry. If God never grants me anything else outside of what I'm doing, I'm happy because of the fact that we have made history.
Yeah.
Being one of really the first stations to start internet radio 14 years ago. People didn't know about
Yes.
internet radio streaming at that time.
No.
This is a new medium.
Right.
And people have just picked up on it.
Just to say, look now, though.
And they're broadcasting from everywhere.
Yes. Yes. In the bathroom, in the basement, in the bedroom.
Right.
You name it. Outside, in the backyard. We're just able to do so much more fantastic things. And it's not just, our age, but young people, kids.
Yeah.
And you have to, of course, watch them in today's time. But even kids have a great capacity and are doing some really, really wonderful things online. And that's why, I really love to actually jump in. It's been about a year, believe it or not. It's only been a year since I've been on Facebook, because they're doing all this little flashbacks of what I did a year ago. And it's only been a year. And because I was a teacher and I never believed in getting involved in social media, because of my position. But from retiring and moving on, my first thought was, I need a social media. And so I immediately went to, I think Twitter was my first social media. And from Twitter, I moved to Facebook. Because I think between you and another gentleman, I was told repeatedly, you need a Facebook.
Right. But before it was Facebook, I think it was MySpace.
Oh, I've never done MySpace.
I was on MySpace.
Were you? Yes.
MySpace for sure.
See, he's telling his age. He's telling his age. But, thank you so very much for taking the time to spend with Lady Mala and the Feel Good Man.
Thank you so much.
Simone Malone. One of my prize favorites to sit down with and talk to, and I've had plenty of people that I've had time to discuss and really spend quality time. But I've learned so much from this man right here. And for any of you that are so adamant and really want to get into the broadcasting business, look up Simone Malone.
Call me.
Yeah.
215-224-4297, or message me through Facebook, or you can email me. Some people don't like to chat on the phone, so
this is true.
You can email me at feelgoodman. There's only one. Feelgoodman, FEELGOODMAN, the number one.
It's true.
at yahoo.com. And I tell people, they say, where did you get the name Radio Feel Good Man? That's a whole nother conversation.
It is. I think we covered it though. They'd have to hunt for it. Yeah. But it is. But trust me, he's got that one. It's trademarked for him. But thank you so very much for taking the time and giving us a half an hour of your time to sit back and find out what 14 years of radio broadcasting is all about. What it takes, what you need, and what you need from someone else to make it really work. And Simone's done a wonderful job of doing that.
And thank you for coming to interview me about this, because I wanted people to get a background and exclusive interview about this and understanding it, because a lot of people still are not knowledgeable of how this really works.
Yes.
It is a lot of work, a lot of dedication, but if you put the time in and you prepare properly, prepare yourself properly, the results will be really good. I'm just going to leave this word that you work for the Lord. The pay may not be much, but his retirement plan.
Oh, it's out of this world.
That's it.
Yeah.
So you guys take care. Happy 2020 as we move into that.
Yes.
And please share this with your family and friends. And remember that you're never alone with Simone Malone. We're always here for you. Just call me, 215-224-4297. So
listen, Lady Mala, thank you so much for being here.
All right. Bye-bye, everybody. Thank you.